Good morning, class. My name is Ajasa Abiola Oladoye. I'm here to take you part of pig production enterprise. This is GNS204 class, the sixth class. Mr. Bada has been taking you from the first class to the fifth class. Now, I'm taking you pig production enterprise, or you can name it essentials of pre-production enterprise. Pig, a domesticated pig is swine. So I may be calling it swine. Now, the animal we are talking about, where can you locate this animal? Where are they found? Swine can be found in colleges, research institutes, university research units, villages. You can also find pig in sparsely populated area. You can also locate pig at the refuse dump sites. Now, this animal we are talking about, when we are describing swine in terms of digestion, it is a monogastric animal. That is one single line of digestion from the mouth, esophagus, the stomach, large and small intestine, and the anus directly, just like human being. It is in terms of feed, it is a monogastric animal. Swine is a monogastric animal, omnivorous. That is the omnivorous. The animal is fed on both plant and animal. Now, what are in the contents? Before we start, I would like to explain to you to note that this class, you should be able, when we give the lectures in this class, you should be able to explain the basic content, the basic techniques of swine production. When I'm saying swine, I told you domesticated pig. So what are the basic techniques? You should be able to explain or to know the basic techniques of swine production, and also the marketing techniques when you are to market and when you are to raise your pigs. Then the physiological signs in this animal. These are the techniques that you must know. When we are talking about pig, there are the essential parts. Sorry, please. When we are talking about this pig, what are the major steps that you need to take to establish swine production enterprise? Number one, you need to determine the land, then the size of the land that you want to use. That is one of the factors that you need to consider. The location. The location must be where non-residential or sparsely populated area. Then the location has to be a place where no one can disturb at any time, then where you can avoid theft. Then as part of the factors to be considered, now, capital. When we are talking about the capital, the money, you see, you have to plan yourself very well before you embark into this production. When I say the capital, when we get to the content of this class, I will explain a better part of this factor. You see, before you start, you must prepare yourself. Be ready. When you want to take the stock, you from the money. For example, if you have about 500,000, you take 30% of 500,000 to take your stock, that is to buy. Then 70% of your capital, you use that for the feeding, medications, and other logistics. Now, also as part of the factors that you need to consider. Now, again, you are to consider what are the disadvantages? What are the limiting factors? What are the factors that can discourage people from going into this farming? Number one is the capital. When you don't have enough, so most farmers garbage in and garbage out because they don't have the budget. The plans are not well organized. So if you start without enough capital, it will fold up. Then the second one in the other disadvantage that you need to consider before you start is the techniques. You must, like we are saying in the content now, the techniques that you need to know. You must know all those techniques. Then you must be observant. When you don't have enough observation techniques, it fall in the wrong side. Then it is time consuming as well. It consumes a lot of time. If you don't have enough time to monitor your workers and to monitor the pig, it might fall in the wrong area. So these are things that you need to prepare before you embark in swine production techniques. Also, the advantage. This is the next subtopic. What are the advantages of swine production enterprise? Number one, when we are talking about the nutrients, protein is a major source of animal protein. The meat is a major source of animal protein, hereby improving the economic growth of a country, even globally. It has a major advantage in the nutrients. Then this animal, because of its wide range of food, the animal can eat anything in such that the minimal nutrients in the food will be absorbed by the animal. Also, on the advantages, the skin are also used for upholsteries, leather chairs, leather bags. Then the waste, the feces can also be used to generate electricity. That is, they call it biogas. Biogas. Then you can use the feces also as manure in the farm. So as part of the advantage, then the rate of absorption in swine are very, very rapid. Though I said it earlier, digestibility is fast because the animal has wide range of varieties of food that it takes. Now, let me move to the next, the terms. What are the common terms? The language, the common words that you can use in farming. You see, when you say farrow is to deliver. I will just mention in few because we have lots. So by the time we go into the content, then I will mention some as well. So when we say farrow is to deliver, to give birth. Boa is matured male pig that is ready, that can cross female. Then we have gilt, matured female pig. And we have winners, the youngest size of the animal. We have it in female, we have it in males. That is winners. Then we have pork. It is the pig meat that is pork. So to mention a few, then we have insow. Insow is a pregnant pig. Then boa, soa, winners, and so on and so forth like that. By the time I move on into the content, then I will be able to mention the rest. Now, like I said earlier, we have types of operation in swine production enterprise. Types of operation. We have general producer and we have specialist producer. When we are talking about the general producer, this is a system where a farmer selects special breeds, a specific breeds. Then the farmer will maintain the line of breeds. Although those animals will be producing, because you have it in male and female, they will be producing and they will maintain the line of breeds. Like the other one, which is the specialist producer, will later come to buy the winners, the younger ones. They will come and buy and raise at their own convenience, at their own capacity. That is, the specialist producer will buy and raise then and butcher or sell for butcher. But the general producer that I first mentioned, those ones they are specialists. They are specialists. If you want to go into one breed, one type of breed, they will specialize on that breed. They will be raising using female and male together to raise together. That is that. Now, types of breed. We have different types of breed. We have large whites, we have landrace, we have Duroc, and we have large black. We have local breeds. We have local breeds. Then we have Hampshire. So we have lots. There are lots of swine breeds or pig breeds, but these are common one that is well raised in African farms, mostly in Nigeria and tropical area of Nigeria. So large white, large race, and large black Duroc. Now, large race. Before the end of this class, I will show you the pictures. I will still show you the pictures of this. You just have a glance through the pictures to know how landrace looks, large white Duroc. Now, landrace, let me start from large white. Large white, economically is very, very important. Large white can produce as much as 14 liters per bath. That is the piglet. In pregnancy, when it farrows, it can produce as much as 14, 15, depending on the management system. Then it is purely white without any stripe in the body. You can't have any stripe. When we say large white is purely white, and they have erect ears. Their ears are erect, but you can raise large white to attain size 300 kg, 400 kg, 500 kg. It's a very large animal, and their litters can attain for the point of birth. The litters, the winners, the piglets can attain 5 kg, between 3 kg to 5 kg in that falls in. Before a month, the young animals can attain like 10 kg and above. That is large white. Landrace has the same characteristics feature, as it is purely white, but it is very large in size as well. But the major difference is it has droppy hair. It has droppy hair. That's when you see it, like you want to take your stock. These are major part of techniques that you use, that you can determine if you want to raise large white. Basic techniques for you to select. You should be able to know the physical signs, the phenotypic signs. What are the physical signs? It is purely white. Then in large white, the ears are erect. Then in landrace, it is purely white as well, but it has droppy hair. These ones too are good for fattening, that is to raise and butcher for consumers. It is very good in that area. The animals can also attain the weight, the matured size can attain the weight of like 500 and above as well. Then Duroc is brownish in color, dark brown. Yes, dark brown. Then some has black stripe towards the hind legs and the forehands, but majorly they are brown, dark brown in color. So that is Duroc. Duroc too are very good in breeding. Let me say breeding. It is very good to raise in farm, to deliver multiple piglets. It is very, very good. Also, the animal is also very good in commercial, like in the general, like I said earlier, general producer. Duroc is very good in that area, and as well very good in specialist producer. Like I said, I want to show you some pictures of the animals I'm talking about: the large white, landrace, Duroc. As you can see, this is an example of, yes, this is an example of large whites. By description, you can see the hairs are erect, large white. You can see the size. This weight can attain almost, this one can attain 200 and above. So this is an example of large white without any spots, purely white. Then I have black, large, this is large black. As pronounced, the color shows it is large black and has erect ears. Also, the next one I just want to show you the pictures of the swine pig breeds. This is Duroc. Duroc, like I said, it is dark brown, brownish in color. Then I have landrace. The other one, it is like in the description, you can see it is purely white. But the hairs, the major difference between large white and landrace, the hairs are the hairs are, it has droppy hairs, and they are very good in breeding. So that is the picture. I also have the local ones here, local breeds. You can see local breeds in farms. Also, as a result of poor production techniques, when you are having cross breeds, you can see local pigs. Local pigs are not majorly local. When you have cross breeds, when there is one thing they call in genetics filial generation, when an animal is having far filial generation, when it has been crossed with different breeds, and the mother has different generation, like large whites, use large whites to cross large black, or use landrace to cross large white. The production will be different. The mother, that is part of genetics. The offspring, at least the piglet, can be dominant. I mean, the mother can be dominant over the piglet, or the father can be dominant over the piglet. But when one is dominant, the other one must be recessive. I will come to that genetics. That is that on breeds of pig. Then we also have hybrids, exotic breeds too, like Pastrian, we have Wessex, we have Tamworth, we also have and so on for that. Then let me move to the next topic here: management system. Management system in swine production. We have 3 different types of management practices in swine production. The first one is intensive farming. I would like to explain this area because it is technical. You must study it as long as you are on the field. And I would like to take this class more practical. Though we are supposed to be on the field. And in the university, Olabisi Onabanjo University, we have a section, piggery section. I think it's about 50 meters away from the gate when you are coming from to the school. So 50 meters away from me. When you keep your right side, you will see the building. It has been, you can see we have the common breeds that I've mentioned here. So management system, majorly swine is raised in intensive management system. What is intensive? Intensive system, management system is when you have your animals in an area where you confine them in an area where you have access to food, medication. They don't move to anywhere. They are confined in a compound. The place, you can call the place paddock or pen. So in commercial swine farming, it is raised majorly in intensive management system. So that is the intensive management system. What are the advantages of when you are practicing intensive management system? You see, you can follow a line of breed. You can monitor line of breed. There will not be chance for you to crossbreed. that is a general producer that I have said earlier. If you want to monitor your line of breed, if it is large white, you want to raise pure large white, you go ahead to monitor large white. You monitor the mother is large white, the father is large white. Definitely 90% of the offspring must be large white. Although they have in them, they have different physical characteristics too that you can technically watch. So the father, the offspring, the father can be dominant on the offspring, or the mother can be dominant on the offspring. It is either the father or the mother must be dominant, while the other one is recessive. So that is management, intensive management system, one of the advantages. Now, part of the advantages of intensive farming system is that you place your observation. Whatever you place on them will be when you give them feed, there will be proper absorption of feed in them. You achieve your results. Crossbreeding is not allowed. So when you have your animal in a confined area, and especially in swine production, you have rapid growth in them. That is the advantages of intensive farming. The second one is extensive farming. Extensive farming is when you raise your animal, they go out to vend for food. They scavenge around to get their food on daily basis. In the morning they go out, they can come back to your house and sleep. They have their room, so they have their pen, their housing, but they go out in the morning and come back in the night. That is extensive management system. Advantages of extensive management system: it does not consume time. It doesn't take much of your time. You don't need to observe the state of the animal. It doesn't take much of your capitals. You don't expend much on them. There is no medication. If possible, there might not be any feeding formula. So that is advantage. It doesn't take. That's the major one. It doesn't take much of your time. That is the extensive management system. The disadvantages of extensive management system: crossbreeding. Crossbreeding is very, very high in extensive management system. Crossbreeding, that is when you have different breeds together, they cross one another. When you have large whites, large whites in male, large race in female, cross at any time. And two, you don't have the number. You don't have the number of your animal. There is no way you can monitor. There is no medication. You don't have any specific medication. So those are the disadvantages too in extensive management system. Also in intensive, let me come back to that. Intensive disadvantages in intensive farming is this labor intensive as well. It consumes more money. It needs more observation techniques. It requires more observation techniques. Now, the third one is to mediate between, when you mediate between intensive farming and extensive farming. That is, you call it semi-intensive or semi-extensive. How do you practice it? That is when you mediate, when you practice partial practice between semi-intensive and partial practice between extensive and intensive farming. That is, you raise your animal, you monitor them before they go out in the morning, you give them all necessary things they needed. You have to give it to them before they go out. And they come back again, you watch them, you count them, you know the number. This is you call it semi-extensive or semi-intensive. So likewise, the advantages and disadvantages is a partial practice between their advantages and their disadvantages. That is that on management system in swine production. Now, when we are talking about the housing, this area I may not be able to explain more in the housing. The housing, like I said, you have to determine the location where you site your farm. The location must be where the younger animals can tap the early morning sun. That early morning sun is it's very, very rich in vitamin D, and vitamin D is very, very helpful to all animals. So you have to site your building where the animals can tap the early morning sun, because it is purely raised intensive management system. So they will be in that pen throughout. It is once in a while you can put them in a yard where they can move around, then return them in the pen, just to make a little exercise and return them in the pen throughout their lifespan. So in the housing system, you must create an enabling environment. How do you create an enabling environment? Because of the nature of this animal, the place must be well ventilated. It must be well ventilated. It's either, depending on your capacity, it's either you use bricks, blocks as the housing, for the housing, or you use, when you don't have much, you can start with any amount you are capable of raising. You can use bamboo trees, you can use shaving wood to make the floor. Then you can use planks, very hard planks, because the animals are very, very aggressive and very, very strong. The animals can eat. If you don't have a very strong housing, they can destroy, because the growers, the intermediate size of those animals are very, very aggressive. They can spoil the pen at any time. So we must make the housing very strong. That is that on the housing. Now, feed and feeding. Feed and feeding. We have, of course, when we are talking about feeding, what do you give to them? What are the sizes of feed you give to them? What are the combination of nutrients that you feed? That is feeding. Firstly, I will first talk about the feed. The criteria, I want to brief the classes of feed that you can give to them, the common one that even animal, I said it, their digestive system is same way like human being, they are monogastric animals. Human beings are also monogastric animals. So because of they can eat on plants and animals. So they feed, they take carbohydrates, that's the common carbohydrates, protein, minerals, and water. Those are the major feeds. Now, when we are talking about feeding, these are technical areas that you need to monitor very well. If you have different categories of animals. We have the younger one, that is the smallest size of the animal. Then we have the average size, the grower. Those ones are the grower. Then the smallest one are winners. The matured size of the animal, you call them gilt or boa or barrow. Barrow is a male pig that has been castrated. The scrotum has been removed. That is boa. When we are talking about boa, you cannot use boa to produce offspring because it doesn't have testicles anymore. It has been removed surgically. Now, the feed, like I said, feeding, under the feeding, there are different formulas in which you can use. Let me give you a summary, because we have two different types of formulation. You want to give them, you see, the quantity of feed that the younger ones will eat is different from the quantity of feed or the formula that the younger ones or matured will eat. Now, let me start from the younger ones. You see, I have protein, I have carbohydrates, I have minerals, and I have water. What you do, the younger ones need more of protein than carbohydrates, and they need more of fiber. And what is fiber? Concentrated carbohydrates. Concentrated carbohydrates. So when you use your formula, you see, you approach the experts, the nutritionist. And like I said, I have two different types of formulation. We have proximate analysis, and we have error. They call it try and error formulation. So either you use proximate analysis or you use try and error formulation. You see, try and error formulation is very, very common in swine production. That is, you just assume the quantity of protein the animal can take, you take it, you mix. Like an animal want to take, the younger animal want to take 3 kg, that's just the formula, 3 kg of the total nutrients. From the 3 kg, if you want to give this younger animal, 60% of the 3 kg, 60% of the 3 kg is protein. Then the rest is carbohydrates, minerals. The minerals, percentage of minerals and salt are very, very small, are very, very minor, like 0.0, like in mineral, 0.01 for. So that is the formula for the younger one. Like the next stage in animal, which is the grower. The grower, you increase the carbohydrates, then you reduce or you still maintain the quantity of protein, but you need to increase the carbohydrates because the sizes are different. In the next 3 months, you have to change your formula. Then the matured one, the grown-up sizes, you reduce the level of protein, the quantity of protein, then you increase the fiber and as well the carbohydrates. Then the other quantities like 0.01 can be 0.1 in large animals. Like the large animals can take 10 kg or 5 kg per day. And from 5 kg, let's take these are trial and error. You can like 5 kg, 40% can be protein or 35% can be protein, while like 40%, 45% can be carbohydrates. That is in mature animal. The rest can be the salt, water. Also, water is also a limiting factor. Water can be 15% because the water is very, very important in swine production. Because of the nature of the animal, it has a large deposit of fat in the body, and the temperature in the fat is higher than temperature in pure ordinary water. So they need more water. People do say pigs are dirty animals. They are not dirty. They are very neat in nature because of the fat, the large fat in their body. Their temperature, their skin temperature is always very high, and they will always like to go to where where they can get water, wallow in the water, like a muddy area. Muddy area always holds water. So they like to go to that area. It is because of the water they want that they go to that. Even in their feces, they always sleep on the feces because it is the moisture content in that feces that they are tapping. That's why they go there. But during proper management system, you have to provide unlimited water for them. When they have enough water, see, the animal will be neat. Like the example of the one I showed to you earlier, you can see they are very, very neat. So pigs are neat animal. Although they can be aggressive sometimes, but they are not wicked. They don't bite anyhow. So that is that on feeding and feed. Then what are the in protein? What are the feed that in protein? We have plant protein and we have animal protein. Plant protein like maize. Plant protein like soya bean meal. That is the major protein feed, soya bean meal. And then we have we still have some, but the major one that we use in swine production is soya bean meal. Then animal protein that the animal always fed on. Animal protein, you have blood meal, fish meal, yes, blood meal, fish meal, and so on and so forth like that. Those are the common one in protein. Like carbohydrates, we have only plant carbohydrates, majorly on plants. So we have maize, sorghum, wheat offal, and so on and so on. But the major carbohydrate is the maize. The maize also has little percentage protein in maize. If you make your research, you make your findings, you observe that there is little protein in maize. Maize has a wide range of importance in the farm. That is that. Now, let me move to, then when we are talking about the feed, how do you get, you can't just introduce any feed to the animal. The food must be neat. I mean, the feed must be neat enough. And that is, the fragrance of the meat must be very, very attractive. Then the quality of the feed must be well processed. then must easily be digestible. If you introduce a feed to an animal, most especially the younger animals, that you don't see when they are fed on powdered feed, it is more absorbed than when you are feeding the animals using granules or like seed. So the digestibility in powdery form is even rapid. It is better than the one in like granules. Now, let me move to the next on my topic here. Breed. I said I talked about breeds, type of breeds in animal. Breeding. Breeding is a process. We have different types of breeds. Breeding is a process. Now, breeding in animal. What is breeding? Breeding is a process by which the desirable ones in the herds, that is the collective animals, is being selected. You select the desirable ones as a general producer. You select the desirable one, that has good genetic characteristics. What do I mean by this? That is breeding. How do you identify them? Now, by their history, when you have the line of breed, the mother, you know how the mother, for example, the genetic feature, like a mother always produce 15, 16 per birth. That's a good genetic characteristics. So the offspring too, you can identify the offspring. Definitely, the offspring, the mother can be dominant over, because we have genetic characteristics and we have phenotypic characteristics. That's the physical one that everyone can easily get. But in genetic characteristics, it could be a bit difficult to identify by the gene until when the animals are growing in the farm. So what are the desirable features in an animal? That is the genetic by the history of the father or the mother. That is number one. Then the other one is the size, the posture. The size, you see, I said one of the major skills that you must have is for you to see if an animal is well fed and is looking healthy. It is by the stature, the gait, the stature, at least the posture. The posture must be well standard. Must stand upright. When you see a balanced animal, a balanced pig, you should be able to identify this is a good animal. Then the teeth of the pig, both male and male, must be at least 14. That is, the tip of the breast is the teeth. The tip of the breast is the teeth. So the teeth must be 14 in number. 14. If an animal like a pig, you see the animal is up to 12, between 12 and 14. It is not up to, the teeth are not up to 10, between 10, 8. That means it's not a desirable, doesn't have good genetic characteristics. Then the animal must be very active. A male must be very, very active. When it comes to crossing, mating, the animal must be very, very active. Those are the desirable characteristics that you can achieve when you are practicing breeding. That is breeding. Now, the next one I have here is, sorry, breeds and breeding. Now, let me pick from an area, genetics. I just want to have a brief discussion on genetics. And genetics is also, when you have little knowledge on genetics, you can apply it in the farm such that you can have good breeds. There are common areas in genetics that you need when we are talking about breeds. Physical characteristics, genetic characteristics. Physical characteristics is the color of the animal. You must have the skill, the practical skill, the technical skill. What is the color? If you want to buy large white, within you know large white must be pure. Although some have a spot in the body and they can still work very perfectly, but You must make sure that it is white. That is the physical signs. It must be pure white. Then other physical signs is the aggressiveness, the active when mating. Those are the physical characteristics that you can detect if you want to pick large whites. So like the teeth is a physical characteristic. The physical, you count the number of teeth in the brain, in the udder, in the region, in the udder region. So the mouth of the breast must be between 12 and 14. Those are the physical characteristics. Then when we are talking about filial generation, we have first filial generation, we have second filial generation. This is a generation where you use one line of breed, that same line of breed to cross. They are still in first filial generation. But by the time you use large race and large white, probably it could be male or female in large race, then male or female in large white to cross. Then their offsprings, one of the parents will be dominant over the offsprings. So now the offsprings are second filial generation. If you now take those offspring again, you raise them, they are matured, you now take another breed of animal with one of the offsprings when they are matured. It could be female or male to cross again. It becomes second filial generation. See, in practical farms, see, people don't monitor the filial generation. Some are far, they have far filial generation. They cannot even determine the source of the father or the mother. That is part of genetics that is very important that you must know. You must take notes, filial generation. Then when we are talking about recessive and dominant, I have said that earlier. Recessive and dominant. The mother could be dominant over the offspring, the piglet, or the father can be dominant over that is the resemblance is very high. When the resemblance is very high on the father, when you look at the offspring, the piglet, resemblance, the father, the animal resembles the father more than the mother. That is, the father is dominant, while the mother is recessive. That is one of the major things that you need to consider in genetics. Then high vigor. What do I mean by high vigor? When you are crossbreeding, inbreeding is also part of genetics. Inbreeding, when you are taking an animal from the same line, for the same pedigree, the same mother, same father, you are using them to cross. That is inbreeding. The same father, the same mother of the offsprings, they are crossing each other. That is inbreeding. And it could lead to high vigor. High vigor is when you are having high loss or high death in the animal. When they reach a certain age or certain kg, more than 80% or more than 70% of the animal they die. So that's high vigor. So that is a little I can recall on genetics. Also on when we are talking about medication. Medication is another area, important area, the technical area that you need to monitor. Number one, what are these physical signs that can establish in an animal that you know, because you have to be very observant when you are watching the animal. You see, common diseases that we have is bacteria, viral infections, then bloat as a result of accumulated gas in animal, bloat, then parasites. We have external parasites, we have internal parasites, that category, bacteria, viral infection, parasites, then protozoans. So they are different. We have series of bacterial infections, different types of, but all these things, they show, the animal will show almost same signs in them. From their skin, the skin can be thick or skin infections. You can see the infection in the skin. You can observe the skin. Then the animal, through their genetic characteristics, the animal can be dull. The animal could be resistive to different feeds. The animal that normally eats food at any time, the feed at any time, the animal will relax. Now, this is another thing I need to watch. So, when we are talking about disease, on the diseases, there are common medications in the stores that is being prescribed or recommended for farmers. You see, there are things you need to do when you have your vet doctor. It is part of techniques. You cannot always invite vet doctors every time because of part of where you can get your more profits. Not every time. There are some things you need to practice yourself and do. By God willing, you should be able to castrate under 1 year, under 6 months. You should be able to castrate. Those are one of the advantages. If you castrate the pig wrongly, the pig will survive because it has a very resistive ability into any form of bruise or cuts in their body. That is one of the advantages of pig. They are very, very resistive to infection. Very, very resistive to infections. But at the point where the infection persists or multiplies, the animal gets infected or gets affected. So in medications, like I said, there are medicine, there are drugs that is very common. Long action. Long action is an antibiotics that has oxytetracycline that it covers wide range of bacteria and viral. But most viral infections are incurable. It is very, very unfortunate that sometimes if virus establishes in your farm, there is no medication for viral infections. Sometimes it's an epidemic. This can move. It happens to in 2020, 2019 to 2020, viral infection, that is a spread in viral infection. It is called West African swine fever. This viral infection spreads all over Nigeria, in fact, West Africa. It affects most, like 90% animals in the farm across the country and across African countries. So that comes once in a while. It's a disaster. Let me use that word. It is a disaster, a very serious disaster that can cause a very huge loss in the farm. Then bacteria can be curable. Like I said, long action, we call it LA. We have Oxytex. Oxytex is a broad spectrum. When I say broad spectrum, though not all, there are viral infections that can be cured, that are curable. You see, viral infection. When I say pen strep, for example, pen strep, penicillin, streptomycin, it is being combined together. That is broad spectrum. It can cure wide range of bacteria, wide range of viral infections. Also, parasite. We have ivermectin. Ivermectin is like a dewormer or that battles with a skin infection. Both ectoparasites and endoparasites. Ivermectin are very, very good in those areas. Like Alpha-NO, anything you see NO, could be in anything you see NO, it's a dewormer, can deworm. We have different types of worms. Worms also are very, very destructive in farms and are very common in farms. Although worms have their advantages and also have their disadvantages are very high than the advantages in animal. Worms are in different categories. We have cestodes, nematodes, fluke. We have different categories of worms that can battle. But what are the signs? What are the physical signs that you can see that if it establishes in any animal? What are the signs? The animal will be eating. There will not be proper absorption of feed in the animal. The animal will be runt. That is to have a stunted growth. So, and that can cause huge loss by the farmer. Can cause huge loss. So those are the areas that one need to monitor. That is, the worming on a regular basis can be 3 months. You can treat your animals 3 months to deworm your animal, such that you have the normal regular worms in the body. But the worms are also very good, works on the bacteria. That is that I said bacteria, those are under medication. And also, there are different ways you can treat your animal. You can use injectables. You can use uh, uh, drugs like bolus. They call it intrathecal canal. That is the bolus. I think I've forgotten that area, but the bolus, either you use bolus that pass through the mouth directly, but they have their own advantages and disadvantages. Like there is a route of drug administration. When you are using injectables, it has different sites of injection. You can inject through the muscle, that is intramuscular injection. You can use intravenous. You can tap the vein. If you can take your time, all these things are very good in the area where you have the skills. Intravenous, intrathecal. Then you can use like a rub to rub the body. They are in different forms as such. So that is that on diseases and treatment. If I will recall, I still have some things that I need to discuss here. The heat period of the animal. Heat period. What is heat period? Heat period. I think that this is the period where the female animal is ready to be mated. And once it's mated, it gets pregnant. That is heat period. The gestation period. Gestation period is the period at which the ota of the animal leaves grow in the mother. The mother is the host, while the foster is the host, while the fota is the baby in the animal. So the gestation period is 114 days. Gestation period 100, the period of pregnancy. Let me just add that short definition. The period of the pregnancy in the mother. So it is 114 days. The farmers do say 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. That is exact if you can monitor. In the case of, it's not very common when the animal exceeds the number of time. It could be genetic factor. It could be poor management systems. It could be temperature. It could be weather. Sometimes they exceed or the farrow earlier than the time schedule. That is that. Also, let me still look if I can still have some other thing to explain to you in this class. Yes, let me stop at this end, and I want to please remind us again that we are having GNS204 practical. Like this is GNS204. It's supposed to be practical, and we have about 7 vocational skills which was accredited by NUC, recommended by NUC. That is the minimum academic standard that we want to do. But because of the time frame, we limit the practicals into few. Like the class we have now, Mr. Bada, I don't know if he has taken you sandals, tie and dye. Then I think he taught you crop production practices. Now, but we are going to demonstrate sandals. But before then, we will have to have meeting with all class representatives. So the message will be forwarded to the platform where we have all class representatives in 200 level, both satellite campuses and main campus. Please, we will send a notice to all the class reps to have schedule a meeting. So that is that on the practicals. So for now, I want to call it a date. I also call it a day. So good morning, everyone. So thank you for having me. Thank you.